Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you. It is your instructor, James Shelton, back today to talk about the Week 7 big project, the Parable Recreation. You have a PDF available for you on the modules and, of course, in other places in the course where the assignment is described, like in the module for Week 1. But I'm going to walk you through this. For some of you, this may be your first encounter with the word parable. Just to give you a little bit, and I know that Dr. Carey in her PowerPoints for this course will also be talking to you about parables, and you'll encounter them in your readings as well. Parables are what C.H. Dodd called stories that tease the mind into active thought. They are not merely just stories such as Once Upon a Time or in a land far, far away, which is one of my favorite stories. But parables are more than that. Parables are stories with a point, stories that make us think, stories that may even cause us to do things differently, think differently, speak differently. And Jesus told quite a few of them during his ministry. We have several of them recorded in the pages of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. One of the issues with parables is the examples that Jesus would use would be from his own day, examples of things that the people that he was speaking to would understand. He was speaking to a mostly agrarian culture, people of the soil, people of the land. So when you encounter one of Jesus's first parables, the parable of the sower, where he speaks of someone who goes out to sow seed, throwing seed, casting seed. And you'll hear of Jesus speaking of, in parables, of someone building a vineyard, someone planting a vineyard and assigning others to take care of it. And so you have these examples that his hearers, his immediate hearers, would understand. Now, one of the issues, and one of the delights, if you really get into and studying the New Testament, is drilling down into the points that these parables are making using these contemporary idioms that Jesus would have used. So this assignment is calling for you to recreate a parable. And one of the ways that you're going to do that is using the stuff from our day to retell it. So let me go through it. And I know that that's probably about as clear as mud, but let me go through this PDF very quickly and get you down to get you to start thinking about this. You're going to choose one of the parables from one of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. This form says in the first week of class. It would be great if you could let me know by the end of this week, but I am going to give you till the end of week 2 for this. But it would be best for you if you did get me yours as soon as you could, and thank you for those that already have. Parables are some of the most dynamic and memorable teachings of Jesus that have been passed down to us. In the final week of class, each student will, and I mentioned this in the video for week 1 yesterday, you'll either upload a video of your creative, your recreation to YouTube and then submit that link to me, or you're going to submit a PowerPoint presentation to the professor via the assignment link. And again, this is going to include, it has to include 2 things, a creative retelling of the parable and your reflections on its meaning and significance to both Jesus's original audience and also our contemporary context. So what we're doing here is what's called application. We're trying to take the text and understand its original meaning and then pull across to our hearers today the significance of it to us, to and for us. Here are some instructions again for how to upload a video to YouTube, but I did not go over this. with number 3, so I'm going to take a little bit of time here. It must be an original retelling of the parable. What I'm not looking for here is a summary of the parable and not the creative work of another person. In other words, please do not submit a video that you find on YouTube. That is plagiarism, and that will earn you an automatic 0 for the assignment. A creative retelling should update the parable for a modern audience in ways that communicate the point of the parable. Remember, we have to understand it in its original context. And 2, do it in such a way that a more contemporary audience would understand it and relate to it. Let me give you one example. One of the parables that Jesus tells is the parable of what we call the Good Samaritan. Now, that word Samaritan was flavored strongly in Jesus's day. Samaritans were essentially half-breeds. They were unclean. Jews would not associate with Samaritans. Jews would walk around Samaria if they were going from Galilee to Judea in the south. They would walk around. Samaria was in the middle. So they would actually take the extra time to walk around Samaria. The Samaritans were those that were in the land of Israel following the exile, who married into other nations. And so Samaritan had a nasty flavor to it for many. And so when Jesus tells this parable, and it is not the priest, not the Levite, but the Samaritan who shows compassion, because he's answering a question from a religious leader. Who is my neighbor? And so you'll be thinking about that and trying to update the parable. Who is my neighbor if you decide to do the parable of the Good Samaritan? And then thinking about how Jesus takes that, because what the gentleman was really asking was, who is my enemy? How many people do I have to call my neighbor, and who can I not call my neighbor? So Jesus then goes to telling a story about one of the people that the religious leader would definitely have called an enemy, and has him show Christ-like compassion for the man in the ditch. It's a wonderful story, it's a powerful story, but it's also a convicting story. So what you would want to do, and I'm not going to do it for you, but one of the things you'd want to do is to think about, who are the Samaritans today? Who are those that maybe Christians would think of as Samaritans? But that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's only one example of many. So you're going to update it. Again, it must involve either a video or a PowerPoint presentation. Just like with word counts in the discussions, I'm going to be a stickler for your videos being between 6 and 8 minutes long, and your PowerPoint presentations, if you decide to do one of those, must contain at least 10 slides. And it must end. It is not enough just to simply do a retelling. It must end with reflections, your honest reflections on the meaning of the parable, its personal impact on you, its impact on our understanding of Jesus, both from first century viewers as well as contemporary ones. And that can be, if you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, it can be a couple of extra slides at the end detailing these 3 things. And if you're doing a video, you can certainly end your creative retelling with kind of a summary using these 3. In addition to recreating your own parable, you must view at least 4 other classmates' parables in order to participate in the final discussion forum. That is the other part of this. You will submit a link to me if you do a video, all right? And you will submit a PowerPoint presentation to me, but you are also to submit your work into discussion forum 7.2, which will be for the last week of class. I'll say more about that as we go through. Again, your grade is going to be based on creativity and thoughtfulness. Is it obvious that you spent quality time and effort on this? What creative ideas did you use to present your material? And then your format. Is the presentation and the content that you include easy to understand and follow? But we do want you to be creative and have fun with this, okay? but we want to make sure that it achieves what the assignment is calling for. All right. Well, I hope that just kind of helps you to get started on this. Week 7 is coming faster than any of us can believe. But just wanted to go ahead. There are other assignments before this one. I'll be sprinkling you with videos on the Luke summary paper and also on the Yancey book review, which is due week 6. But I'll be throwing those out to you. Just be checking for those links. I'll send it via email, and I'll also put an announcement up letting you know that these videos are here. Again, please reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the assignments, james.shelton@point.edu, or you can email me here on Canvas. It is my joy to be with you on this journey. God bless you, and bring any questions you have for me on any of the content. There might be something in the content that in your textbooks or in the PowerPoints that you encounter that you may want a bit further discussion on. You can even flag me in the discussion forums. I read all of your posts. I really do. And I try to respond to everyone. So if you've got a question for me that maybe would be good for the rest of the class, maybe to see, and you'd like for me to respond, put it in there, and I'll get back with you, and we'll continue the conversation. But God bless each of you. I hope you continue to have a great week, and I'll check in again with you in a couple of days, most likely via announcement concerning the discussion forum for this week. God bless you. Thank you so much again for allowing me the opportunity to be with you on this journey. And we'll see you next time.